Time for our chart of the day. Lyft and Uber shares, they're just driving in opposite directions today. You see Lyft up over 13%, Uber pulling back about 5%. This action after Alphabet's Waymo announced plans to launch its robotaxi service in Nashville next year in partnership with Lyft. Joe and Weiss, you both own Uber. Joe, I'm going to come over to you first.
Steve, I'm going to give you back the final trade from Monday. We fought over Uber as a final trade on Monday. I said it was going to go to 100. I won. I got Uber. I still think Uber's going to be okay. In the long run, you're talking about a company at $194 billion that has really turned around their balance sheet. But there's an opportunity here, I believe, for a trade with Lyft. This is their first partnership with Waymo. It lands itself here in a critical part of the country. Obviously, Uber already has existing partnerships with Waymo itself. But what we're witnessing just in terms of a price reaction from Lyft is a very strong one. For those that just want to kind of follow along here on a trade, you have a stock that's up nearly 80% on the year. I think it's up 133% from the April low. And you have a low risk scenario where you literally could buy this stock against your breakout here at around $20, or if you're a little bit more you have the ability to incur a little bit more risk. You could risk it towards $19. So I think you could play along with that trade. I think this partnership is good. I think it kind of puts them back in a headline which they were not participating in. But remember, this is a much smaller size company than we're talking about with Uber at $190+ billion versus a $9 billion company.
Here's how I see it. This is, at this point, nothing more than competitive tension. So without Waymo bringing Lyft into the equation, Uber could price as they want to price. So Lyft we still don't know if they can execute. It's delayed until sometime late in 26. But think of what it does. Now it sets the table differently when Waymo and Uber sit down in other cities. So I think actually that Lyft is slightly ahead in this news. The company was dead not that long ago. They brought a new CEO in. Now, maybe they take advantage of it and go into other cities, and that they say is their plan. But right now, you just got to bring a stalking horse there so that Uber doesn't have the leverage.
Okay. So it sounds like you're saying that puts basically a kind of a ceiling on the revenues that Uber can generate with this service.
Not at all.
But if Lyft is a competitor, don't they compete on price? I mean, when both sides compete on price?
You're missing the point, Frank. The point is that I don't view Lyft as on equal footing as Uber. You're drawing the conclusion they will be, that they'll have the same market share, they'll be in the same cities. It's possible, but right now that's not apparent because they don't have the ability to compete like that.
Right, but isn't Lyft's model now? I mean, I have both apps on my phone. It's a bit cheaper than Uber. That's the idea. You take a Lyft because you want to.
It's got to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. So wouldn't the same apply for autonomous driving?
It may, but it depends where they are.
If they succeed.
I never look at Lyft, right? If I'm in LA, I do, because it's better in LA in terms of time. But otherwise, I just find that the time for the ride is much longer, and Uber's is automatic for me.
Uber is far ahead in terms of the infrastructure with robotaxi and the partnership
and
with
profitability
Waymo.
and other things they offer.
They're in Phoenix, they're in Atlanta, they're in Austin. Okay, so now we're talking about, they're stepping into Nashville. Okay, this is the first stop. They need to go other places. Lyft. They need to go to other places. Let's not dismiss this. This is a good story for Lyft. If you've been waiting a long time for Lyft to file, I think it's nothing more than a trade because, to Steve's point, I don't see them in a competitive balance in any regard. I think that story ended years ago where Uber said, okay, game over. We won.
Here's the dialogue going on in the room, okay, between Waymo and Uber. Waymo's saying, got to bring down your prices because we've got Lyft there also. So we can just go to them. And Uber said, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, potentially. I think it's just like Lyft executing. Potentially. It seems like something that could have happened. We know for sure today, investors are taking the ride with Lyft. Uber shares pulling back. Last time we checked, about 4.5%, 5%. Lyft shares up double digits.